Well, now something's coming on too strong, and I just can't seem to get along. I always try to write a song, but sometimes the words ain't coming out right. Cause my niece has left tonight. But as long as I've got a pipe, let's go.
All right, live from Dogleg Brewery in Fort Worth, Texas, it's time for You Can't Brew That on Television. Now, here are your hosts, the Reverend Ryan Bono and Kyle Brewdog LaPointe.
Hello, Internet, and welcome to yet another extraordinary episode of You Can't Brew That on Television. We are your hosts. I am the Reverend Ryan Bono.
I am Kyle, the girl with the dragon tattoo LaPointe.
I have no cool name. I'm Sergio.
He's just Sergio, everybody, and you're going to find out why he's here in just a moment. We have yet another really cool guest host. He brought some really cool stuff for us. What are we talking about tonight?
We're going to talk about chili beers, like spelled C-H-I-L-E, not L-I.
And what that amounts to is beers that have been brought to us from Chile by the guy in the middle here, by Sergio.
I'm very excited about this.
We're going to talk a little bit about Sam Adams. There's some weird stuff going on over there with our boy Sam Coke.
Wacky, weird
We're going to talk about that and maybe speculate on what it means about the brewery in general.
Okay.
And what else we got?
We're also going to talk about, we got a future live event over at Stubby's. We got kind of mapping it out, but it should be after the Bruin Bowl, which is also coming up on January 1st, which is a tradition here at Dogleg.
Excellent. So, without any further ado, let's find out what Sergio's here, and let's find out what all these delicious beers are in front of us. Sergio, what's going on, man?
Not much. Just got back from Chile. My family's originally from, my father originally from Chile, so we went down over Thanksgiving for 2 weeks to visit the family.
You brought a nice little map of Chile
For those
for
who
us.
aren't familiar with Chile, it's on the west coast of
Go ahead and
South America. Santiago is the capital.
Oh,
It's located about halfway through.
That's good stuff right there. It's kind of shaped like a chili, actually.
It says it's in Argentina, but I think it's lying.
Well, and when I headed down, Bono asked me to grab some beers and bring them on back. So I went to the grocery store one day, talked to a bunch of cousins, and looked around and grabbed these 4 beers. 2 of which are brewed by the Cerveza Astral, which comes from the city of Punta Arenas, which is on the map way down here at the tip of South America on the Strait of Magellan. We brought back the Cerveza Volcanes del Sur Bock Chocolate and the Kunzman Pale Ale. And this Kunzman Brewery is from Valdivia, which is in about this area down by the Lake District of Chile, and the Volcanes del Sur is from just kind of in this area, close to Santiago, a little bit to the south of it as well.
Excellent.
Close to contraception.
Yes.
But further away
contraception is right there next to it.
Yeah, I do see it.
So one of the first things Kyle and I noticed while looking at these beers is that they all appear to be made in a European brewing tradition. I mean, you heard we've got a Bock. We've got what appears to be a Vienna lager.
Looking forward to that.
A Calafate Ale, which Sergio and I did some research on this, found out that Calafate is a fruit that apparently only grows there in Chile. So I'm really looking forward to trying that one. I think we should dive into that one first.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's a fruit that we've never had, and we did so much research on it. Tell everybody what you guys know about it.
We found out that it grows
primarily in Chile
on a plant-like substance that hosts it.
So we forgot to do our research on this plant.
We forgot to do our research. But, I mean, we're fairly astute judges of beer. I think
I cheated. I got a 20-ounce pint, so Bono overpoured me.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Fools you once again.
All right, so this is the Calafate Ale.
Oh, that's interesting.
Brewed in Punta Arenas. And
it's got like a cran aroma.
Yeah, there's a lot of European malt jumping right out of this.
Sure.
Well, you mentioned the European brewing tradition, just in case everybody doesn't know.
Tell us a little bit about the background of Chile.
Chile is very European compared to other countries. I mean, it does have a huge indigenous population in the north, which is Inca-based, and southern and central, which is the Mapuches, and as well in southern Chile. But Chile was colonized by a lot of Europeans. Chile, I think in the late 1800s, opened up to Europeans to come over. So you had a lot of Swiss and a lot of German that came over. And in the Lake District down towards southern Chile, you'll find there's towns, for example, one called Frutillar, which the architecture, the construction, you look like you're in a German village.
Oh, that's
basically.
really cool.
So there's a lot of German and Swiss roots, basically, in heritage. My aunt down there, my dad's sister, married a Swiss German. So his last name is Luxinger, blonde hair, blue eye. So you find that. So that's probably where a lot of the brewing tradition comes from.
That is very neat.
Yeah, the European Pilsner malts are definitely rolling around in this.
You'd almost say like that fruit's kind of like a blood orange almost.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
It's not
have you had
super,
the
super
Revolver
tart.
Blood and Honey?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, this is a similar flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I was
didn't think about it like
trying
that.
to pin it down. That's a good.
By the
call.
way, Revolver, that's a nice crossover talk that we'll talk about later.
Absolutely, yeah.
The head brewer there was actually the guy who invented the Utopias recipe for Sam Adams.
I didn't know that. I knew he was a bigwig. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he was brought on as their big project guy. So a lot of the seasonals and the big beers are his babies.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So Chilean beer so far. I mean, just one beer
That's
in.
neat.
I'm into this, man. It's there's some toasted malt in the back. Got that blood orange kind of feeling, Calafate.
Well,
Yep.
in beers in
Real
Chile,
smooth hop.
obviously
Yeah.
Chile's big into wine. Their kind of national drink is pisco. It's a liquor made from grapes that have a high pH value, so they make pisco sours it or mix it with
Right.
Coke. But you find a lot of beer drinkers, and they have kind of the equivalent to Budweiser and all that here, which would be the Cristal or the Royal, just the the large capacity breweries.
Right.
As well. So you're starting to see a lot of smaller breweries pop up. When I was there 10, 11 years ago, I didn't see many of these. I visited the Kunstmann Brewery in Valdivia. I think it was like a little restaurant or something like that was attached to it. And I remember that one. I don't remember the other ones. And then 2 years ago when I went down, I started to see some of these other ones. And this one I hadn't seen until I went to the grocery store. But I had seen the Cerveza Austral. My cousins drink it. And apparently that brewery's been around since 1896. So it was founded by a German way down in the southern tip of South America. So
That's pretty cool.
good.
I'm into this, man.
I like it a lot.
I'm good with it so far, and I'm glad you mentioned the explosion of craft brewing and how it's happening in Chile, as well as it's along the same lines as happening here.
Right.
I was just in Ireland for the first time in a few years. I noticed it's happening there too,
Right.
actually, and I'm glad that we went with the conversation in that direction, because that brings us to a really kind of interesting point, something really odd is going on at the Boston Brewing Company, which of course manufactures one of the world's favorite craft brews, and that is Sam Adams.
Yep.
Boston Lager, that's right. When people who work for the company or high up in the company own stock in the company and they want to sell it, the legal way to do this is to file a bunch of paperwork with the SEC. So the whole world knows that you're selling stock.
Right.
And something big is going on at Boston Brewing Company, because a whole lot of their bigwigs, including Sam Coke himself, are selling their stock in the company, and they're selling bunches of it. Now, this is really strange because they're coming off of a pretty good sales year.
Yep. They've been growing. But do you happen to know what the problem is, or are you just kind of speculating right now?
I'm speculating. Obviously, if you're Sam Coke, if you're one of the big wigs in the company, you're only going to be doing this if you think that the stock is at its highest it's going to be. If you're expecting a turnaround.
Yeah.
So why would they be expecting a turnaround at Sam Adams right now when the craft brewing movement appears to be at its strongest? I've got some ideas. I want to run that by you and see what you think.
Well, I think one of the reasons why it could be the fact that they're kind of separating themselves from all the other craft breweries. They're far and away the biggest craft brewery.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
But they're far and away way smaller than the mega breweries. So right now they're in this kind of middle of the pack. Who knows what's going on? Like, am I a big brewery? Am I a little brewery? So they're starting to lose some of their fan base from the, get out the good beer crowd. Like, oh, you got to try this great beer at Sam Adams. Now they're going, you got to try this great beer. It's raw, it's real ale, it's Cerveza Austral, it's, Kunstmann. They got all kinds of different choices.
You're falling behind, buddy.
Back it off.
I'm ashamed of you.
Bono paid me back.
Yes, I did, didn't I?
I got nothing.
I didn't completely. Here, you want some of mine?
No, I'm good.
I can just pour it in.
Gold bottle, green bottle, who gives it?
Here's what I think is going on, and I haven't actually reviewed their sales numbers, so I could be dead wrong on this. When you look at sales numbers, you got to look at more than just the actual sales last year's sales were better than the year before. Last year they had the best sales in company history.
Yeah.
What's the trajectory?
Yeah.
Is that trajectory starting to kind of curve up, like it's going up, just not as fast as it used to? Because
or are you set to reset?
I have a theory that Sam Adams, Sam Adams really was at the front of the craft brewing movement. There's a few craft breweries that you can point to and say those guys kicked this thing off.
Anchor,
Boston
Brewing Company,
Sierra Nevada, Boston Brewing Company.
Mm-hmm.
I would put New Belgium in that. And
they were a little later, but
and Dogfish Head.
Yeah, both of the Dogfish Head.
The only reason I put New Belgium in that is because they really led the way in Colorado, becoming the mecca of brewing like overnight.
Right.
I mean, that place just exploded.
Yeah, that's a totally crazy. I mean, that's like hey, I want to start a brewery. I don't have enough money, but they keep sending me credit card invites. So
right, exactly.
I'll get 5,000 credit cards with $5,000 limits and start a brewery. That's pretty much how they got going. And
so here's my theory, is that Sam Adams, while it represented that push, it represented the thrust of the craft brewing movement, I don't think it kept up with the pace the way these other big breweries did. Anchor's a classic. I mean, Anchor's been around for ages, but they've started releasing their seasonals. They started pushing out some of their smaller beers a little bit more.
Well, they got bought out.
You get more than just the Anchor Steam. Sierra Nevada is always coming up with new stuff.
Right.
New Belgium always coming up with new stuff. Dogfish Head defines coming up with new stuff. I mean, it's all those guys do.
Yeah. You just don't think Sam Adams coming up with enough new stuff? Sam Adams
has its seasonals, but I don't think that their flagship beer is good enough to keep up. Because I don't know about you, I don't like Sam Adams. That's their flagship. That is what they've hung their hat on.
Sam Adams is solid. Sam Adams is solid. I think one of the problems with that in general, I mean, Sam Adams, I'm not going to say it's great, but it's solid. It's not a Sierra Nevada. I mean, you will buy a Sierra Nevada
Sierra
because
Nevada
you're like,
is an American classic.
Right.
Anchor Steam is an American classic.
But yeah, you see
Sam Adams is a borderline frat boy beer.
Kind of Shinerbach-ish, isn't it?
Mm. I would say so, but it doesn't have. I don't see people from Massachusetts being as loyal to their beer as Texans are.
Yeah.
Texans are loyal to Shinerbach.
First of all, can you guys hear me at all?
But
do I still sound like I'm in a bucket? This Skype still makes me sound like I'm in a bucket.
Yeah,
we're watching.
Type it in the message board. That'll be easier for us.
Well, I'll say it for the audience, and I'll text it to you guys. Something unpatriotic about not liking Sam Adams.
Something not patriotic.
And also, is Sam Adams is this the new PBR?
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this next straw beer. This one. Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Rich, sorry, man. You're just cutting in and out so much it's hard for us to really hear you. But if you could type it, we'll broadcast what you're saying. Maybe you can say it to the rest of the world, but we just won't hear.
This is just their base lager. I'm getting the
the
feeling that it's the same recipe as this.
Yeah.
With a little bit less toast. I mean, you can even see it. It's a paler beer.
Yep. It's I mean, it's got a little bit of skunk to it.
It is a little bit skunk,
which is pretty amazing. The other one had no skunk at all. This one got a little green bottle action. But I imagine they sell a hell of a lot more of that than they do this, so they're probably stock
I'm
shelves.
sure that they do, yeah.
You know, fruit beer is kind of one of those deals where you only sell so many of them.
I'm the slacker this time.
Well, you poured yourself half
Sam Adams, the PBR of the craft beer generation. That I think that's an excellent call, and Kyle actually brought up Shinerbach, which we talked about before, as being kind of in the same vein, and so I'm wondering if we're not going to see Sam Adams' sales start to fall and see them start relying. I don't see Boston Brewing Company going away.
No,
but I see the sales of their flagship starting to suffer a little bit. And then I think that they're going to start relying on their seasonals and their small batches more, which I'm excited about because I love their seasonals. I think their seasonals are fantastic. One
of the big complaints I hear a lot about is that there's like the yeast character that Sam Adams has kind of drives people away. There's always that, the craft brew people and the home brewers, they know, it's a yeast. But a lot of people, they'll try the Sam Adams like, I don't know if I like that. and they just don't like the yeast.
Yeah.
And there's some other beers like that are the same way. Budweiser, I'm just not huge on the yeast that Anheuser-Busch puts in most of their beers. I don't like Michelob. I don't like. There's very few beers I like.
Well, and yeast can really make or break a brewery. My favorite brewer, one of my favorite breweries is Real, and I wholly attribute that.
Most of my favorite breweries are Real.
One of my favorite breweries is Real Ale.
Oh, okay.
The Real Brewing Company. And I attribute it to their yeast. They use their English yeast in just about everything they make.
Yep.
Honky suggests that Sam Adams is exotic enough, and he puts exotic in quotes, to give a slightly different taste without driving the frat boys away. I think that's where they made their money. I think that you're dead on. You hit the nail on the head with that. But I think that other breweries are doing that exact same thing a lot better.
There's very few of the craft breweries out there that are stupid enough to start their craft brewery without some blonde or wheat or light or something like that. And everybody goes, oh, it's craft brew. It's the same as I get from Budweiser, but it's craft brew.
And you and I have talked about that a lot in our discussions about potentially starting our own brewery one day. Is that you have to have
something
a good flagship beer that lots of people can drink and enjoy.
So which one's this one?
This is Kunzman from Valdivia. It's a pale ale.
Okay.
Valdivia is in the what's called the Lake District area of Chile. There's about 6 or 7 lakes in that area. It's not necessarily on the coast.
Man, does that smell good.
It's not necessarily directly on the coast. It's kind of set in a little bit of an estuary bay. I don't know, Brackish River that goes upstream. It's an older city back in 1960 when that 9.2 earthquake hit Chile.
Right.
There was a massive tsunami that decimated the town. But there's a lot of Spanish ports from when there used to be a colony.
This is really good.
I haven't drank it yet because it smells so good. I don't want to drink it yet. I'm like, I just want to keep bringing in the aroma. It's amazing. This is an English pale ale, by the way, not an American.
It's got a good solid noble hop aroma, good solid noble hop backbone in the flavor.
Biscuity.
This is really good
This is a liquid
stuff.
biscuit is what this is. I love that biscuit aroma. It's one of my favorite malts you can use when you get that.
It finishes a little drier than you would expect.
That's not uncommon in an English
it's not terribly uncommon. It is a little bit of a surprise, but
I just don't
other than that, I mean, I can't. This is a really good beer.
This is very tasty. And there's a lot of times where English beers will go different ways, and you can get toasty, and you can get. This is like toasted biscuits. This is slightly overcooked biscuits. You want Faulkner to join us on our show?
Yeah, go ahead and put the man on speaker. Guys,
Hey.
Ryan Faulkner is called.
Ryan Faulkner has joined us on the show.
Ryan, what do you think about these Chilean beers we're drinking?
Oh, they're delicious.
Well, that's good to hear.
Faulkner loves Chilean beer.
So, thanks for joining us. It was a pleasant surprise. Didn't realize you were going to be joining us on the show today. We're enjoying a bunch of beers. We do not have a whole lot of stuff going on here. We were talking to Richard, but when he talks to us, it sounds like he's got marbles in his mouth and is calling with a space helmet on. But
Outstanding.
So yeah, but it's good that you're coming through.
On the show today, guys.
Terrific input as always, Faulkner. What do you think of Sam Adams, buddy?
Sam Adams. I think as per the town that it's brewed in, a very big founder, and I guess what would be the Frat Boys' introduction into craft brews.
Hey,
that's one of the points we brought up tonight.
Yeah, it's the marijuana of craft brews. It's just a gateway beer.
I'd agree with that because I remember that was probably one of my first craft brews that I tried, and you remember the taste.
Right.
And it's one of those that's like, of all the craft brews I've tried, I still remember Sam Adams.
Yeah.
And it's kind of every once in a while you're craving a Sam Adams.
We've talked before about our gateway beer. We should do the gateway beer segment. Mm-hmm. Every time we have a guest, we should that should be our regular question. What was your gateway beer?
And then we'll do like a seasonal gateway beer show.
I like that idea. All right, we're going to run that with Sergio here in a little bit.
All right, Faulkner, we'll call you back later.
All right, man. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Bye.
So, we're getting close to the end of the night here, but I think that we've got time to talk about the Brewing Bowl.
All right.
Guys, for those of you not familiar, the Brewing Bowl is an event we do. It's tradition now, I think. I think it's safe to say we do this every year.
Well, especially since Oklahoma's playing A&M, it's tradition now.
Right. Anything A&M does becomes tradition after the first time they do it. So this year on January 1st, we're going to get together. We're going to brew a beer live on the internet. We're going to watch football. I don't know if we'll do that live on the internet, but we're gonna brew a beer. We're gonna watch football. We're gonna eat lots of good food. If you're in the area, you're welcome to join. If you're not in the area, you're welcome to join.
It's a lot of fun. We'll make a bunch of sausage and chicken and burgers and all that fun stuff, and we'll eat a bunch of good food right when the football comes on. Hopefully, we'll be done brewing. One way or another, we'll set it up to where we'll be done brewing. We may, if the weather's bad, brew inside here and only brew 5 gallons instead of 10. We'll just decide that as the time comes, because the last few years we've always done it outside, but we have a little more ability now than we used to, so we can.
We really do.
We don't have to suffer through 43 degrees and ice cold rain.
Golly, we've had some brutal Brewing Bowl years. Now, every year on the show, every fall leading up to Brewing Bowl,
That was good.
Yeah, that was really good. We select a beer style to make.
Beer style. That's a big one.
And the last 2 years, we've let a guest do it. I say we let a guest do it this year. Sergio, what is your favorite beer style? Like you're gonna go to the saucer tonight, and the fire sale is all pints $3. What beer are you selecting? Oh, this is chocolatey.
Can I have some time to think about that one?
Yeah,
go ahead. Let's talk about this chocolate milk we're about to drink. While you're.
Now I will say
it smells like biscuits to me.
I was like, you're having some weird biscuits, but
I've never had this one. I had the Cerveza Astral. I think the Calafato.
Wow!
This would be good to make a float with.
I had the Kunzmann, and when I went to the grocery store, I figured I'd try something new, so I grabbed this one. It looked cool. It said Bach chocolate or chocolate Bach, whatever. I said, I got to take this back to Ryan. He'll probably dig it.
This tastes like it was made with a chocolate bar.
Believe it or not, I had
amazing.
I had a beer from Boulevard a few months ago that was even more chocolatey than this.
This says it's a LeMay's Club Perfecta. Can you believe that? And it's Entre la Intensidad.
Entre la Intensidad, everybody. This seriously has some intensidad to it. Go ahead and mark that for an audio
With the flavor
drop.
of chocolate. It's a fusion of flavors, very elegant.
Man,
the pure point of
you fight through the chocolate and they backed it up with some chocolate malt.
Says they made it with mineral water of
mineral water. That explains
the volcanic water, something like that. So
well, and there's it. Tell me what you think about the
they
finish on
filtered
this.
it through mineral or through volcanic rock.
Tell me what you think about the finish on this.
I'm not a big fan of it.
It really lifts off the palate.
Yeah, it does.
It is,
but it leaves something behind.
Like
is that like an astringency?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, it is. I mean, it's just like it's almost a saltiness.
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's like a saltiness.
And
that's not a good combination of flavors.
Well, it is, but I mean, they salt milk chocolate. Milk chocolate's got salt.
I guess so, huh?
So I think this doesn't taste like the Young's Double Chocolate. Young's Double Chocolate tastes like...
This tastes more like Sam Adams Double Chocolate, actually.
Yeah.
This tastes more like chocolate with beer versus beer with chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's heavy, heavy chocolate. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely not my favorite beer, and I would not order this.
No.
Just because I don't drink beers this sweet very often.
It's a fun once in a while.
I guarantee you, if I put this over some ice cream, my wife would love it.
Yeah.
I wanted to grab something that was exotic, and
this would be good to make a float with.
Yeah. This would be, of all the chocolate beers we talked about, everybody, what do you make with desserts? How do you do that? And they always, you typically will say Young's Double Chocolate Stout with some ice cream. I would much prefer this because it's a lot richer chocolate flavor.
Where this beer came from, where the first two came from the very tip of South America, this one came from the Lake District, probably about a quarter of the way up the country. This one's closer to Santiago. The terrain in Chile changes as you go north to south. From one of the driest deserts in the world, just keep adding moisture until you get into before you get to Punta Arenas, where those two are from. You pass through a temperate rainforest, like in Pacific Northwest. So it's got everything. Well, this one comes from more of an area, if I'm understanding where it's from, kind of more of a the Central Valley area where there's a lot of wine also, but also kind of more of a grasslands, plains area, if you will, with mountains. But it's not. So I'm wondering if that might impact at all how it got developed.
Sure. Well, I find it interesting. I've got a buddy, Dave Oberle, who's told me more than once that he's going to retire in Chile. He's like, oh, that place is amazing, and you can live very cheap there comparatively to here.
Rich wants to know if there's a Chilean ice cream alternative.
Donkey cream.
Donkey. Yeah, good call.
I just read that.
Well, I thought that they did llama cream down there. Llama cream.
That could be. I just read that one of the
alpaca. Yeah.
Somebody or another bought out all of the donkey cheese that there is.
I didn't know there was any. It must not have been too hard.
There isn't now.
Because he's going to start some fancy restaurant. And apparently, donkey cheese is like $5,000 an ounce. We hear that.
All right.
We don't hear Richard talking.
Producer Rich is starting to inch that hook out on stage.
So we got to find out what our Brewing Bowl.
We have to find out what we're going to be making for Brewing Bowl. And if you can't be put on the spot, I've got some ideas.
I always dig a pale ale. For example, RAR, I love their Blind Salamander. I think that's a pale ale.
That's an English IPA.
That's an English IPA.
Oh, it's an English IPA, right?
No, the Storm Cloud is English IPA.
Oh,
I think it's
the pale ale.
That isn't.
Blind Salamander is just an English pale ale.
English.
But I also dig the was it Andrews, St. Andrews,
which is a Scottish.
The Bellhaven.
Bellhaven, yeah.
Bellhaven, St. Andrews is a Scottish 80.
We did a Scottish a few years ago, so let's maybe go English pale ale. I'd love to do an English pale ale.
Well, that was our favorite beer of the night, so I think it's only fitting.
All right. Well, unless you can do the Calafate ale.
That was really neat.
Here's a little piece of trivia that I was sitting here wondering about, and I don't have the answer to. Just something to throw out. This Cerveza Astral is from Punta Arenas, which is on the Strait of Magellan, way at the tip of South America. So it's not the furthest city south in South America. I mean, there are a couple more cities further down. There's one in Argentina called Ushuaia, and Chile has one further south than that. But I'm wondering, is this the furthest? This is the brewery furthest south in the world, the most southern brewery in the world. It's from here.
I mean,
I think Australia has some spots further south.
But I mean, keep in mind, Antarctica's like right here.
Surely one of those scientists in Antarctica is doing some home brewing, but that might be the furthest south commercial brewery.
I'm just wondering.
Let's look into that.
We're going to find that out.
What is the most southern brewery? And what is the most northern?
And if we've had it, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I think that we should end the beer with some table scraps. Do you remember what 34 is?
I think we're getting into fruit beer and specialties.
Oh, this has some really bad potential.
We need to rinse out the chocolate.
Oh God, there's something gooey around the lid. That's not a good sign.
That just means they cooked the lid on there pretty good. 34 and 35.
Guys, for those of you not familiar, table scraps are the beers that didn't make it to the second round of the Blue Bonnet Brew-Off. Some of them are drinkable. Some of them are nothing short of terrible. So while Sergio and I are digging into this, let's talk a little bit about what we learned tonight. Sergio, what did you learn tonight, buddy?
I'm learning what numbers these are. I'll look it up later. Well, I learned a whole lot about Chile, and I really do appreciate you bringing all these Chilean beers.
Oh, my pleasure.
I mean, that is actually a country. That is actually a country that my wife and I have mentioned.
Pour it in.
And give him your glass so he can wash it out.
Yeah, give me your glass so I can wash it out.
But
sorry, keep talking about what you learned.
It's definitely a country that I think my wife and I would like to visit at some
point.
Definitely.
Anytime, let's go down. I got family everywhere. We'll go
really?
around.
No, that would be awesome if actually had somebody help us around.
And it's one of those countries, it's like going to the U.S. where it's, where do you go? You know, it's not like...
You don't get to go everywhere in the country.
Exactly.
One trip.
Well, and it's one of those, I'm not to put a country on the spot like Switzerland. To my mind...
Oh, shit, we're getting Switzerland text messages again. Dang it.
In my mind, it's all mountains. I'm sure they have valleys and other stuff, so apologize to the Swiss fans out there. But my whole point is, it's like you go to the U.S., you've got the desert, you've got the temperate rainforest, you've got beaches, you've got everything. It's kind of a, what are you looking for? You can find it there.
You wanted the most, didn't you?
Smells kind of better than the last one did.
Smells kind of better.
I've smelled
I'm not going to be the first to drink it.
I've popped open sanitary sewer manholes that smell better than that last one. Good Lord.
The thing about home brewing in general is that craft breweries who make
This is consumable.
hundreds of thousands of
Not
gallons.
good, but it is consumable.
People can make they make a lot of beer, right? Hundreds of thousands of gallons in a year they can easily make, and well, you get something like that, they're still going to have bad batches. They're still going to have bad bottles.
We've had a couple bad batches
But
recently.
imagine the homebrew stuff. It's like keeping infection out of that stuff is
It's very difficult. So you learned that you want to visit Chile.
I do.
We learned that Sam Adams may be on the decline.
We learned that Calafate is pretty interesting.
Calafate is a very interesting fruit. I'd kind of like to eat one of those.
I'm kind of wishing I brought more. This brewery probably has about 4 or 5 different types of beer. This one's got about 4 also, so I just grabbed one of those and 2 of those.
It's not like you're never going back.
I'll bring some back next time.
This is palatable.
It'll make another. Let's see. A German on a holiday steps up to customs desk. Oh no, he's telling a bad joke. All right, Sergio, what was your gateway beer?
You know,
what was the first beer you drank
that I liked
that encouraged you to venture out of the world of Budweiser and Coors? And
Newcastle.
Oh, that is
Nice.
a fantastic choice.
Well,
And I remember
we
where
got
it
a
was
theme
at.
here. We got a theme here. Newcastle, Nut Brown, English
Yeah,
Ale.
actually, that's a good call.
That's,
Yeah.
that's the type I like. You know, I remember when it was. It was in college. My brother came down from Boston University to visit me. I was in D.C. at George Washington. We went out to a just neighborhood bar there on GW's campus called the Red Lion, Lindy's Red Lion. I don't remember if I was even of age to drink yet or not, but we were sitting there. I
You
told my
are,
brother,
because you were drinking.
I've been drinking for a while before I actually had, but
That's your
not
first
important.
beer.
So I remember my brother asked me what I wanted. I'm not a big beer fan. He's like, let me order you Newcastle. I guarantee you'll like it. And I did. And kept on going from there.
Awesome. So we learned Sergio's gateway beer. We also learned that a German on holiday once stepped up to the customs desk at a French airport. After the usual series of questions, the officer asks, "Occupation?" And the German answered, "No, just vacation." So on that note, we would like you to remember that we are not professionals.
So please try this at home.
There's the one thing I've said, though I'm not known to be wise. When I hear someone crying out, lamenting, I just look them straight in the eyes and say,
Oh God, that is awful.
oh, you're not the only one who ever came